Hey everybody on the Yuletide tubes, I'm Mr. Spork and these are Mr. Spork's hands. It's Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas everybody. How do you know it's Christmas Eve? Because around my house there are decorations. That's how you know Christmas has finally arrived. That means also that all my creatures are stirring because they never get that memo, and that means I need an eggnog in my hand really badly. If you forgot to buy eggnog today, do not fret. You probably did yourself a favor. Reading that ingredient list is like reading a chemical novel these days. I do not need to drink guar gum or yellow dye number 8742. I'm going to make it from stuff I know. If you've got milk, cream, sugar, eggs, definitely some nutmeg, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, maybe a little bit of booze, you can make eggnog in a hurry from scratch. I guarantee anybody can do this recipe. I'm going to do it old school with a pot of boiling water that's really low simmer boiling water. I'm going to get myself a big old bowl, and I'm going to get myself a balloon whisk, channeling the ghosts of Christmas past. Thank you, Julia. This is going to get me to the technique that you have to do with the eggs to get it into eggnog form. It's basically a really thin custard. I'm going to separate these eggs first with a little bit of Christmas magic. And I'm going to get to working on the yolks first. 3 yolks, basically it's 1 yolk for every ½ liter you want to make, so I'm going to make about 1.5 liters here. Over my really low heat, I'm just going to get them whisked and started. And what you're looking for is a little bit of a color change and a slight thickening. It'll take, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds, something like that. They're starting to change color there. Now I want to get sugar in there. I use, personally, 1 tablespoon for every egg yolk, so 3 tablespoons. If you want it to be as sweet as the stuff you get in the store, my best guess is they use up to 2 tablespoons per egg. So if you want it sweeter, go all the way up to 6 tablespoons. After that, it just gets to be ridiculous. But keep whisking now a little bit longer till you get slightly thickened egg yolks. You can see that that color change is really obvious now. I want to get in with the dairy now. I'm going to go in with my 1 liter of regular stock standard whole milk. That's 3.25% usually. And I'm going to go in with a 1/4 liter, 250 milliliters of my 18% cream. It's going to be different names in your country. Some people call it half cream, half and half, I think sometimes. But basically, any dairy you've got will work. The richness does come a little bit from the dairy product, but also from cooking the actual custard. So don't feel like you got to make it with all cream to make it particularly luxurious. Just not necessary. And so I'm going to let that do its thing over that really low, gentle heat. So here's where you want to get a good dose of nutmeg, freshly grated, please. Do not buy the pre-grated stuff. It loses all its flavor within a day. I'm going to get that nutmeg into the mix. I'm probably going to use 1/4 of a nutmeg. Maybe even half, because I really like it, especially when it's freshly grated. Yeah, that's about 1/4 of a nutmeg in there. So nutmeg is in, and some people put in a whole lot of cinnamon. I don't like that much cinnamon in my eggnog, but I'll take a little bit. So literally a 3 salt shaker dash of cinnamon. Let's stir that up real quick, and now we got to get onto the egg whites. Now I'm going to mix these egg whites with 1 extra tablespoon of sugar in them. I've tried a bunch of different technologies to see if there was a big advantage. First thing I tried was my trusty old Vitamix regular stock standard liquid container. Didn't do a great job. Not the right blades for it. I understand that they do make an aerating container now that will do a much better job, but since the Vitamix elves have not visited me in quite some time, I don't have that container, nor do I have the dry container or the short container. I got a laundry list of stuff from Vitamix, but not the right device for doing just 3 egg whites. The next thing I tried was my very trusted food processor, and they actually come with an aerating blade, but again, with only 3 egg whites, didn't do a fabulous job. So, of course, I pulled out the old school KitchenAid upright mixer. And as you can see, tried and true, that got me to the soft peak stage I was after. I don't like mine super hard. I'm not trying to make meringue here, but that's just about perfect for mixing back into the finished beverage. I want to check on the temperature. What we're aiming for over here on the double boiler is 170 degrees or so, and you want to come up real nice and gentle, as they say. Good. That gives me time to tell you about a couple other flavors that you can sneak in there. I would be remiss in Canada if I didn't tell you that occasionally we put some maple syrup in our eggnog. A tablespoon, maybe two, would flavor this size batch perfectly well. Yes, our maple syrup comes in cans up here, but if you go really high-tech and pay too much money, you can get it in a squeeze bottle. Again, tablespoon or two in there would be more than enough. Some people like honey. You could use an exotic honey, a spiced honey maybe. Again, a tablespoon or two in there just for the flavor would be more than enough, I think. And if you went easy on the sugar earlier, both of those will be fine in there. It's not going to make it too sweet. Some people will automatically put in a vanilla bean, the scrapings on the inside of the pod, or a tablespoon of vanilla extract. That's a nice addition if you like it. I think the nutmeg and cinnamon is more than enough. And heaven forbid, some people have actually put in cocoa powder. If you want to go and try that, go right ahead. But hey, not my thing. I'm not that much of a cocoa fan. So I'm just going to keep stirring this every so often and checking the temperature till we get to that 165, 170. We're almost there, 165, getting real close. Some people would tell you at this point they would add the booze, whether you use bourbon, which is kind of traditional. I'm a fan of the dark rum, not spiced rum. That's a little too much. But if you want to put the booze in now, you certainly can and cook it a bit. Personally, I prefer leaving it boozeless until I serve. I add the booze when it's already chilled down. I don't like cooking the booze flavor out. I want to taste my dark rum. So we're at 170 and a change. That's a good time to go ahead and kill the heat. And it's time to get those egg whites back in. Let me get them mixed in. Kind of like floating islands here. You just whisk them in. This is all going to go back into my original pitcher, if I can find it over here, and it's all going to get chilled down in the fridge. Going to take, depending on your fridge, an hour or two. You do want to serve it cold. In my case, it's -7 Celsius outside, so I'm just going to set it on the outside porch for a few minutes. And I will come back and show you what it looks like in the glass. So here we are with the finished product and two of my stirring creatures that sort of wanted to be involved. Well, maybe not. All right. So I told you they're all over the place. Do stir your eggnog just a little bit, whisk it a little bit right before you serve it because you want to get those egg whites incorporated back in. You're going to lose a lot of the poof while it cools, but that's just part of it. You'll still get some froth there forming on the top of your glass. And like all gaudy sweaters, everybody needs gaudy glasses for serving eggnog in. And as I mentioned earlier, I always put my booze in right at the end. That lets me dose it to whoever's drinking it. I'm just going to go in with just a little bit of rum. I've had a lot of this today. And finally, just a little tiny bit of extra nutmeg, freshly grated. I do hope you make some for yourself. Stay away from that over-sweetened stuff in the grocery store. It's super easy, as you can see. I hope you have a great Christmas Eve and a great Christmas and a great New Year's. I cannot thank you guys enough for making my videos as successful as they are. I do appreciate you liking and thumbs up and spacey tweety booking and all that stuff. If you really like it, hit that subscribe button because those numbers are important to me. And as always, if you can watch whatever ad they roll after this for a few seconds, that throws pennies in my pocket and lets me keep doing this for you. Until next time, I'm Mr. Spork. These are Mr. Spork's hands. Happy Christmas. Go make some eggnog.